development in CIP. Can you talk about this, first of all?
Well, there's a couple of new developments that have taken place in CIP. First of all, despite the recognition that the CIP board has not generated an audited report for the last 2 years, which is in breach of their act, we've seen no movement by the minister or the government to make sure that the CIP board fulfills what is in its own act, that it needs to produce an audited report 90 days after the term, and then no later than 90 days after that it's supposed to be placed in the House. And so we're on the verge that 2 years have gone by and 2 reports have not been delivered. Secondly, there has been no clarity on who the chairman of CIP board is. So we know that Lawrence Theophilus was the chairman. We have not received any written confirmations. There's been no statements made as to whether, in fact, he's still there. We've not seen him at any of the press meetings. He's not been responsive to any of the stuff. And from my understanding, he's told people privately that he's resigned. Yet there's been no statements have come out from the government to say that. And there's been no statements to say who, in fact, is the current acting chairman, if there is such a thing, at the CIP board. We see that there is a significant conflict of information with the CEO. The CEO, as we all now know, went to Washington, D.C. To meet with MSR, and it suggested he also met with law enforcement agents while he was in Washington, D.C. He, in a press statement, said that he went up there to protect the interest of the CIP, which means he went up there to represent the CIP board. The Prime Minister now has come out and said that he went up there on his own and he did not have the permission of anyone to go up there. It's a major conflict. How can you have such a senior officer acting, if the Prime Minister is correct, unilaterally? Because he's not there representing himself. He's there representing the country and the reputation of the country. And I think that without a doubt, that the CEO needs to resign. And there are other allegations with regards to a home being built and all kinds of other things that the government has made no effort to clarify and to satisfy us that there's nothing untoward that's taking place. So those things remain and have been going on for some time now and remain unresolved. The most recent issue that has taken place is that in the court case between MSR, so MSR has, from what I understand, 2 court cases, Spider. They have a court case which is they filed in the U.S., which is the RICO case, which has been filed against 2 former prime ministers and the former CEO of Galaxy and the owner of Galaxy. Sorry, not the former CEO of Galaxy, the former CEO of the St. Kitts CIP, Les Can. Those are in the U.S. that they filed. MSR also apparently have filed what's called a local case in St. Kitts for a judicial review on the prison project. Now, as we have said repeatedly, none of us are here to defend MSR or to represent their cause. That's a matter for the courts to determine. But what we can do is learn from what happened in St. Kitts and to find out if there are similarities that are taking place in St. Lucia. So the case that is being brought to the courts in St. Kitts is the case as it relates to the prison project in St. Kitts. So the government of St. Kitts, through the CIP program, allowed Galaxy to sell 5,500 files, which had a market value of about $1 billion, $175,000 per file, to build a $50 million prison. So according to the information provided by MSR in the court case, and information that now has been confirmed by the current Prime Minister, Prime Minister Drew in St. Kitts, what we found out, that they were allocated 5,500 files. They eventually sold 26,000 passports. So as we know, a file can be for a family. So it turned out that they sold 26,000 passports. The money was collected directly by Galaxy. And according to the court case, that the law, the CIP law act in St. Kitts did not permit Galaxy to collect the money directly. And nor did it allow it to collect the money outside of St. Kitts, which is apparently what took place. So it means that all the applications went directly to Galaxy. The money was paid directly to Galaxy. And what is being suggested, and let me say that again, suggested, is that the due diligence firm that was being used, which was a Chinese firm, that they're alleging that that firm was controlled by Galaxy. So you can understand the danger in all of that. So here it is, Galaxy would have collected the money, received the applications, did the processing, and it's uncertain at this point whether they did the due diligence by themselves or whether that they did it in conjunction with the government of St. Kitts. But the result of all of that is that the prison has not been built and nobody knows where the money is. Now, what's the lesson that we have to learn? The lesson that we have to learn is that the infrastructure program that the government of St. Lucia started is exactly the same way. So despite all of the statements by the government, the only thing they did was have an SI to say that there was an infrastructure program, but the regulations were never published.
And by the way, an
So
SI is a statutory instrument.
Thank you very much, Spider.
Yeah.
And that's what gives legality to any act of government. So we have been asking the question, in this infrastructure program, how does a person become an approved developer? No answers, and there's nothing in the regulations to suggest that. Yet Galaxy has claimed that they are a developer under the infrastructure program. We've asked the question, who collects the money? The government has said nothing. There are no regulations to say who's supposed to collect the money. All we have is a press statement from Galaxy saying that they're collecting the money and they're also collecting the fees. Where is the money going? We've asked the government. Nobody has said anything. There's nothing in the regulations that speaks to where the money goes. So for instance, in the real estate program, we know the money went into an approved escrow account. We don't know that in the infrastructure program. We have no idea. So here it is that St. Kitts now has found itself where they have given away 26,000 passports. That has a market value of over $1 billion US. And the company was supposed to have built a prison, and it's not built a prison. And here it is, we see the exact same thing being done because it's the same players. It's the same Galaxy. It's the same idea of an infrastructure. It's the same thing that they get to collect the money. And this is a very dangerous program that's taking place. Now, we know the government of St. Lucia was forced into signing the MOA, the Memorandum of Agreement between all of the OECS countries on CIP, to have a harmonized standard. That was supposed to have commenced on July 1st. The SI telling us and legitimizing the new prices, the statutory instrument, only came out on July 9th and made it retroactive to July 1st. So what happens to all the persons who have applied between July 1st and July 9th? Now, if you are to make a comparison, Grenada was able to get its SI out, its statutory instrument out much earlier to give people advanced notice. And there was significant amount of details that went into that whole thing, which everybody understood how the transition process was going to take place. No such thing has happened in St. Lucia. Now, yesterday, in an unrelated matter, Herman Gill Francis made a pronouncement and provided a document yesterday on Newspin. The document was a memo that was written to the Governor General from the Public Service Commission. And it was related specifically to the Commissioner of Police. So what it said was that they were asking that her contract be terminated. Her contract was supposed to go until August 31st, but they wanted it terminated as of March 31st. And the reason for terminating the contract, they said, is because they were going to separate the ministries. So they were going to have a Ministry of National Security, and then Home Affairs and Immigration were going to be separated from that. So the intention was to terminate her contract and then to issue a new contract for her only as the Commissioner of Police. And we assume that somebody else would now be assigned to the other, to Immigration and Home Affairs. Now, the way that the memo was written, it said that they were terminating it and then waiting for approvals before they gave the new contract. So that would suggest that there was a period of time in which,
officially there was no
a
police
period of time
commissioner.
in which there was officially no police commissioner. And no notices had been put out to say that there was a deputy commissioner or an acting commissioner. Nothing. There's been no information that has come out from the government to even explain to people what is it the government was going to be doing. Now, given the track record of this government, that every time we turn around, there's more secrets, lies, and propaganda. Every single time that we turn around, secrets, lies, and propaganda. We see that now happening again. So we have to ask ourselves the question, Spider. Why is it?
Oh, call dropped, I think.
Yes, it did.
Yes. If you're listening, well,
You can
I
call
hope
back.
you'll call back, and we'll have him continue.
I'd never heard that one before.
Yeah, well, that's what SLP stands for now. Andre, you talk about abbreviations.
Okay, he's calling back.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, let him go.
Let's see if let's get that call. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yep, sorry about that.
Okay. Could you go ahead, please? Continue.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm asking the question, the persons who are in the immigration office are police officers. So I know at one point, Spider, you used to be the Minister of Public Service.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have police officers outside of the police of national security in another ministry, it means you have to second them.
That's right.
So how do you have police officers reporting to somebody who doesn't have the authority of the Commissioner of Police?
True.
I mean, I don't even want to begin to understand how that is going to work.
Yeah. These things
Right.
go to the issue of governance, you know.
It goes to issues of governance.
Yeah.
And why is it if you want to separate the ministries, you could not have kept the Commissioner of Police, where the Commissioner of Police now would have had two responsibilities, the responsibility for national security and then the responsibility for immigration, even though they're different ministries.
But
So
if I can
again,
interrupt you here, you know, now you cannot blame me. I'm very suspicious. Because you see, once information is being withheld from me, that makes me ask myself questions. When there are secrets, that makes me speculate. And so why separate immigration from the police at this time? Now, call me suspicious if you like, because I am. At a time when we have all kinds of issues swirling around about our passports, you know, and our citizenship and so on, I mean, that timing is strange. And I must ask the question, why? Because our government has not told us even that was taking place. Why that decision, and what is the intention? Go ahead, please.
you took the words from my mouth.
Yeah.
Because of what I've seen as a track record of this government, nothing is ever what it appears to be. There always seems to be some ulterior motive behind everything, and then they come and tell you, oh, no, you cannot believe your eyes and don't believe what you're hearing. So you're 100% right. What is with the CIP right now, it's the issuance of passports. So is there a cover-up? Or is there an intention to control it so that nobody knows what's going on? So here it is that we've not gotten audited reports from the CIP board, correct?
That's correct.
We don't know who the chairman of the CIP board is. and we're speaking about governance. So here it is, within the act and the regulations of the CIP, you're supposed to have you shall have your audited reports. The minister now came out and said that there's going to be a new audited firm that's brought in. What's the update on that? Don't you think that this is something that they should be moving very quickly on? Expeditiously?
Yeah.
Urgently? Right? And transparently?
But you see,
and again,
and the thing is not a question of choice. And while we all want information, it's not a question of choice. It is a law. It is the law. They ought to table that audited statement to Parliament within a certain period after the end of the financial year, of the year for CIP. And that has not been done for the previous year, and has not been done yet for last year. Now, in all fairness, they have until October for this year. Okay? That doesn't mean it cannot be done before October, but at least they have until October. But last year, for the year before, 2022, 2023, a whole year has gone by and we have not seen that audited report. What is it that is being hidden? You know?
Correct. And also, let's not be fooled. The audited report is of the CIP board itself.
Right.
What is also required is an audited report of the escrow account. Now, when we left, there was only like about, 40 files that were sold, very few, right? And the government confirmed when they came into to office that they got the escrow account and they reconciled the account, meaning that they looked at the amount of money that was in the account based on the number of passports that had been sold, right?
Right.
We need to know that there's also going to be an audit of the escrow account. Now, the question is, if in fact Galaxy has been collecting money on the infrastructure program directly, how are you going to audit that? And worse yet, what law is Galaxy really in breach of if there's no regulations? The only entity that's in breach of the law would be the government of St. Lucia, by allowing passports to be issued to people and that there's no program, there's no regulations to determine how those persons qualified.
Yeah.
Now, again, from a governance perspective, no chairman. Who's the chairman? How is it everybody is sitting by an important program like this that is right now, drowning in controversy?
And you see, the Prime Minister is giving us the excuse. First he said that the court case has nothing to do with St. Lucia. Now he's giving us the excuse that the matter is in the courts, so don't ask him any questions about it and he will not be commenting about it. But the matter is in the courts. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts is making statements almost on a daily basis as to what exactly his government is doing, what is happening, what the situation is. He owes it to his people to update them. Now, before you continue, let me just say also, when asked questions, if they choose not outrightly not to answer, they will give you some excuse why they cannot answer. Now, I'm still waiting for, there was a question asked of the minister responsible for CIP. And he was asked how many files were given to Galaxy, and he had to get permission. Can you believe that? The minister of our government had to get permission from Galaxy to find out whether he could tell us how many passports were issued to Galaxy. Now, I'm trying to find out whether he has gotten that permission and when he will give us the answer. Because you cannot tell me, how ridiculous it is. If you don't want to answer, just do like the Prime Minister and Emma Hippolyte does. Just don't answer, which is wrong because you owe it to us to answer. But you're going to make a cheap excuse, insult our intelligence to tell us you must get permission from Galaxy to answer the question?
Well, you remember the answers were don't go there and kill it.
That's right.
Right? And that's none of your business.
None of your business.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the trait of this government, and you're 100% right. So again, let's go back to the memo that Herman Gill read out, where they said that they had to wait for permission. Was the permission from Galaxy? Right? How can a government defer governance of a country to a third party who is not elected, who has no responsibilities to the people of this country?
And ironically, these are the people who spoke about foreigners and who are like foreigners were taking over, we're giving this and that to foreigners and so on. And right now, they have literally handed over the governance of this country to foreigners. They have literally handed over the assets of this country to foreigners, and we have to just sit back and take it.
100% right. I mean, look at the thing with GPH.
Yeah.
Look at the situation with GPH, where we now have confirmed that the head tax is going to go from $6 from $6.50 to $12. And the breakdown now is going to be that GPH is going to get $11 and the government of St. Lucia is going to get $1. Okay?
Imagine that.
And so we know that we're going to get to about 1 million passengers. So that means that GPH is going to collect $11 million a year, and we're going to collect $1 million a year. And they're going to get to collect that for 40 years. I know it's 30 years with almost an automatic extension for another 10 years. So 40 years. So $440 million just on the head tax. And we know that they're also going to be getting monies from all the vendors and the taxi drivers and the tour operators, etc. We have no idea how much that's going to come to. Yes? And then now there's an SI, another statutory instrument that was published 2 days ago. I think you have it, Spider.
Yes, I do.
Where GPH was given now duty-free concessions to bring all of their building materials, all their office equipment, everything that they want to do business in St. Lucia, they get to bring it in duty-free. And that's after they've had to make no investment with their own money. In fact, the money that they're going to get for the project is going to come from the Bank of St. Lucia. Nobody's told us what they're using as a guarantee. So is it that what the government has done is leased the port of Castries to GPH for $1 a year? Okay? And given them now a 30-year lease, because that would be the collateral that the Bank of St. Lucia would require. So the same way with the halls of justice, right, that's going up, and we know what they're trying to do. They're going to build the equivalent of the Daher Mall with one extra floor. They're building it in Constitution Park. So it's going to be almost 2 stories higher than the church.
Yeah.
Right? They lease that property to NH for $1 for the 12 years.